This Yoniso Manasikara is having thorough attention. Now, not everybody is able to have thorough attention. Most of us who have good karma, we can have thorough attention. When we listen to the Dhamma or when we study the Dhamma books, we can pay quite total attention. But there is one sutta in the Digha Nikaya called the Samannapala Sutta, where King Ajatasattu came to see the Buddha. This King Ajatasattu had just become a king, and he became a king by killing his father in order to take the father's throne. And because of killing his father, who was a very good man and a disciple of the Buddha, this Ajatasattu regretted it. And every night he was troubled by the thought and could not sleep. So one of these nights he went to see the Buddha and asked the Buddha certain questions like what's the benefit of becoming a monk? So the Buddha explained to him, and this is the gist of the Samannapala Sutta. So he was satisfied with the Buddha's answer and he left. After he had left, the Buddha told his disciples, the Buddha said, this foolish man killed his father in order to become a king. And his father was a just and good man. So the Buddha said, if he had not done so, I would have taught him the Dhamma tonight, and he would have seen the Dhamma and attained stream entry. So because the Buddha saw that his mind was very troubled, the Buddha did not even try to teach him the Four Noble Truths. So this is one type of person who does not have Yoniso Manasikara. His mind cannot focus, cannot concentrate. So in other words, if we have a troubled mind, we cannot listen properly to the Dhamma. And what is the cause of a troubled mind? One simple cause is Sila. If we do not practice Sila, moral conduct, then we break the precepts like kill, steal, commit adultery, lie, etc. Then we suffer remorse and our mind is troubled. So it is quite necessary to have basic Sila to become an Ariya. In other words, you do not harm other living beings. In the Noble Eightfold Path, Sila is defined by these three things, as I mentioned just now. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Right speech consists of four things. Right speech means not to lie, not to carry tales and cause people to quarrel. In other words, you hear A talking about B, you don't go and tell B, last night A said this and this about you. And they make the two of them quarrel and fight. So that is the second precept in the verbal conduct, not to carry tales. The third one is not to have coarse speech. When we have coarse speech, we speak very coarsely, loudly, or we use vulgar words, etc. When we give advice to somebody, or we point out the mistake of somebody, if we speak loudly, people cannot accept it. But if we speak gently, then even if you criticize somebody, but you put it in a gentle way, that person can accept. So that's why the Buddha said, right speech, we should speak gently, not use coarse speech. The fourth part of this right speech is not to engage in idle gossip. Idle gossip is to speak unnecessary words, time-wasting words. That is is of no benefit to anybody. Time is very precious to us. We don't have much time. Much of your day you use up in trying to earn a livelihood, doing all your various duties. So you are left with very little time each day. So we should use it wisely. So right speech consists of these four things: not to lie, not to carry tales, to cause disharmony, not to engage in coarse speech, and not to engage in idle gossip. And then right action consists of the three precepts concerning the body: not to kill, not to steal, and not to commit adultery. This is right action. And then right livelihood is to earn your livelihood in a way that does not harm other living beings. For example, the Buddha said lay people should not rear animals for slaughter. And then we should not sell liquor. Lay people should not engage in trade of liquor, should not buy and sell these weapons, guns. And then the fourth one is insecticide that kills. And then the fifth one is not to rear animals. And then the fifth one is not to engage in the trafficking of human beings, like buying and selling slaves. Nowadays it's still done, but illegally. So this is the various traits that a lay person should not engage in. So when you earn a livelihood, you should also remember that other people are also trying to earn a livelihood. So you should not obstruct somebody else from earning a livelihood. We should have what they call a win-win situation, where you earn a reasonable livelihood and you allow other people to earn a reasonable livelihood. So this is right livelihood. So these three things, right speech, right actions, and right livelihood, mix up for the Sila part in the Aryan Eightfold Path. So if you keep this Aryan Sila, you don't harm other living beings. And so your mind is not filled with remorse. So when you listen to the Dhamma, then you can understand. Now it's also to able to have this Yoniso Manasikara, it's also very helpful if you meditate. And during the Buddha's time, meditation was mainly concerned with attaining jhana. In other words, during the Buddha's time, they always practice samatha meditation. Because in the suttas, whenever Ananda was asked what type of meditation is praised by the Buddha, and whenever Ananda answered the first jhana, the second jhana, the third jhana, the fourth jhana. So you can see here the aim of Buddhist meditation is to attain the jhanas. And some people don't understand why jhanas are important in the Buddha's teachings. In fact, jhanas are extremely important because when you practice samatha meditation, you train your mind to focus. We train our mind to focus. Our normal mind is very scattered. So you have to train it to focus. And you train it to focus by putting your attention on one object all the time. And the mind tends to run away. Our attention tends to go out through the six sense doors to see, to hear, to smell, to taste, touch and think. So, because our mind is constantly going out through these six sense doors, the normal mind is quite scattered. So we have to train it to focus. When you are able to focus your mind, then you have strength of mind. And the Buddha says you are able to see things as they really are. So, also when we attain some samadhi, the hindrances come down. There are 5 things called Pancha Nivarana, 5 hindrances that envelop our mind. And when they envelop our mind, we cannot see properly. It's just like when you use dark glasses. When you use dark glasses, then I show you a piece of cloth. That cloth is green in color. But you have dark glasses on, you look at the cloth, you might think it's blue. And then I tell you it's green. And then you argue it's blue, because you see it's definitely blue to you. But when I remove your dark glasses, then only you see that it is green, right? So when we have these dark glasses on, we can't see clearly. In the same way, when the 5 hindrances envelop us, we cannot see things clearly as they really are. So the Buddha says we have to get rid of these 5 hindrances, and the only way is to attain samadhi. Then they reduce the 5 hindrances. So when you are able to reduce the 5 hindrances, you can see things very clearly. I'll give you a classic case. In the Theravada, I think it is mentioned, when the Buddha started to gather disciples, he went to certain people. He only went to certain people, and I believe he went to those people with strong samadhi, who had attained jhana either in this lifetime or in the previous human lifetime. Afterwards I will tell you in more detail about the disciples of the Buddha. So there was one layman. He was from a very rich family. He was a young man and he had 4 wives, had many slaves to entertain him. And every day, since his father was so rich, he didn't have to work. Every day he'll enjoy himself by getting drunk and watching his slaves dance and sing for him. So one day he was in his usual condition, quite drunk and watching his slaves. And the Buddha walked in front of his house. So when the Buddha walked in front of his house, he saw the Buddha. And something from the past stirred him. So when he looked at the Buddha, he concentrated, he focused on the Buddha. And because his mind had trained before to focus, when he focused his attention on the Buddha, he shook off his drunkenness so easily. Then he went to the Buddha, bowed to the Buddha, invited the Buddha to his house, and from there he became a disciple of the Buddha. And later I think he renounced and became an arahant. So you can see here the power of a focused mind. We can just shake off his drunkenness like that. So the Buddha said, in the same way, if a person has a focused mind, then he teaches them the Dhamma, they can attain arahanthood. There are many cases of this which I will mention later. So that is the advantage of having a focused mind. That's why we want to train in samadhi. So to have Yoniso Manasikara, first you got to have, you have to keep sila, you have to have moral conduct so that you don't have a remorseful mind, you don't suffer from remorse, have a troubled mind. And then if you can meditate, then it is even better. You practice samatha meditation to focus your mind. Then when you listen to the Dhamma, you can see it very clearly, understand very clearly. So these are the 2 conditions to attain right view, to attain stream entry, namely listening to the Dhamma and having Yoniso Manasikara. But this Dhamma actually is concerned with the 4 noble truths. Because the Buddha says in the suttas that there are 2 types of right view. One is worldly right view and transcendental right view, or Aryan right view. Worldly right view is to understand the law of karma vipaka, intentional action and its result. If you understand the law of karma vipaka, then you will not harm other living beings. You will keep your sila naturally. So this is having worldly right view. Aryan right view is understanding of the Four Noble Truths. And the Four Noble Truths are concerned with dukkha, suffering, the characteristic of the world, and the arising of suffering, the ceasing of suffering, and the path going to the ceasing of suffering. Now this suffering, the Buddha says, what is suffering? Being born is suffering. Becoming old is suffering. Becoming sick is suffering. Dying is suffering. Not getting what one wants is suffering. Getting what you don't want also is suffering. Being separated from the ones you love is suffering. Being close to your enemies, those you dislike, is suffering. In short, the Buddha said, the five aggregates is a source of suffering. These five aggregates consist of five things: body, feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness. The last four are basically the working of the mind: feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness. So the five aggregates is simply body and mind. So the body and mind, which we take to be the self, the I, the ego, that is the source of suffering. So if we want to study the Dhamma to understand and get right view, basically we have to listen to the Dhamma that concerns suffering, the cause of suffering, the ceasing of suffering, and the path going to the ceasing of suffering. And since suffering concerns the five aggregates, so also need an understanding of the five aggregates. And because suffering comes about because of impermanence and change in this world, so you also need to understand dependent origination, how everything arises and ceases due to conditions. And also because the world is suffering, we have to understand that the world arises through consciousness. And consciousness means the working of consciousness at the six sense doors. So to understand suffering, you also need to understand the six senses, the outer sense objects, the senses itself, and the inner consciousness, etc. So when we listen or investigate the Dhamma, it concerns the Four Noble Truths, the five aggregates, dependent origination, the six senses, etc. And this also the Buddha calls the 37 Bodhibhakya Dhammas, the 37 factors of enlightenment. What are these? The four right efforts, the four satipatthana, the five faculties, the five powers, the seven bojjhanga, the eight Four Noble Path, etc. These are the 37 Bodhibhakya Dhammas. So, and these basically also is the 8 factors of the Noble Path. So all this is the Dhamma that we have to learn. So basically, if we either investigate the discourses of the Buddha, or we study the teachings based on the original discourses of the Buddha, that will make you have right view. Okay? So that is how to attain right view and attain stream entry.